Welcome to the Crypto Campfire. They'll make you melt like a popsicle on the 4th of July. Mitch and the Professor. Featuring special guest, Janice and John McAfee.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Campfire podcast. This is the Professor.
And Mitch.
And today is the McAfee Freedom Special episode. We've got Janice and John on the show, and we're super excited to get going on this. Before we get started, let's take a look at the crypto news from the Crypto Gent.
Thanks, Professor. Hello, Crypto Campfire listeners, and welcome to the cryptocurrency news in a flash with the Crypto Gent. Pompliano says he's 75% confident that Bitcoin price is to hit $100,000 by the end of 2021. US Congress requests that Facebook's Libra stable coin is delayed. Gram Asia to sell Telegram tokens at 3 times the ICO price as Bitcoin price reaches $12,000. Please remember to follow and subscribe at the Crypto Gent. Back to you, Professor.
Thanks, Crypto Gent. So guys, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to be on. We're having an exciting time here.
We're happy to have a stable internet connection finally.
Sure.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah, I imagine that's right down there in Cuba right now, huh?
It's a little difficult trying to get internet and do work and everything, but it works. It works.
Yeah, you guys seem to make the best of it and get everything done that you need to do. So props for that. It's got to be harder than it looks.
Heck yeah.
Yes. Especially getting locked out of Twitter, which was not fun at all.
It's so nice to see you back on, though. That's the best part.
I know.
Were you having withdrawals from crypto Twitter?
I know we were.
Yes, I actually was. I was about ready to start grabbing John's phone and just tweeting from his account.
There you go. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Hey, this is Janice. I'm back, bitches.
We got a nice email apologizing for the outrageousness of the Twitter bots.
Yes, so they
that was only after she created a new account.
Exactly. They tagged my account, so I guess their system tagged my account as a spam account, and so so that's why I got locked out. And then, but after I went through all the trouble of creating a new account, then they're like, "Oh, you can have your shit back. Sorry." So
yeah.
Thanks for the inconvenience, guys.
It's funny. It's just one thing after the other, right? If it's not difficult enough to try and communicate, just lock us out of Twitter too. Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Awesome. So, Janice, first off, I need to say that Amina says hello.
Hello.
We had a nice podcast with her the other day, so that was pretty awesome. So we would like to know, what was your passion when you were growing up? What were you passionate about, and what were your ambitions?
You know what? Actually, I wanted to be a nurse. Go figure. I've always been really passionate about people, about children. I love kids. I love to see them happy. I love to see them thriving. I love to see them having the best opportunities that they can have to be productive adults. And so that's kind of always been my passion. As I became a teenager, though, I feel like it kind of got geared towards maybe the lost causes, because I sort of felt like a lost cause. I was kind of the prodigal child, if you will. I grew up in a very religious home, and I turned completely away from that for obvious reasons. Because when you're growing up in the church and you see like the ministers, they got girlfriends or little side pieces on the side, and they standing up in the pulpit preaching about God's word. It's kind of hard to take that seriously, and so. So I guess, like I said, it kind of got geared towards that sort of lost cause of people, the forgotten people, those people where people, just kind of write them off as, they're never going to be nothing. They'll never amount to anything. And sometimes you just need people to believe in you so that you can believe enough in yourself. And that's what I learned, I think, in my years of being a working girl, for sure. Because, I never felt like I was such a bad person. I just got caught up in a situation and I couldn't figure out how to get away from it, but that didn't mean that I should be treated like a second-class citizen, but a lot of the girls are, and they go through so much that they don't have to go through, but their families turn their backs on them. My family did. And, I had to figure it out on my own. So that's my passion now. Just people, awesome. and getting them to see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will.
Absolutely. That's admirable. It really is.
Thank you.
It's great to see that as you've progressed, your ambitions may have evolved, but you've still stuck with that same, that same passion of trying to take care of people in general and make sure that people believe in themselves. And so that's pretty impressive that you've just kind of stayed on that path, but constantly improving it.
Yes, thank you.
So, John, going back for you, what was the first computer that you ever owned and what first got you into computers? I know for me, I had an old Tandy that I played Hangman on. It was my first computer that came down from my aunt in like 1995. So kind of curious what your experience was back then.
I probably got late owning computers because I was working on the very first computers. In 1964, I was working with General Electric on the first process automation computers, which at the time was probably the highest tech computer work you could ever do. Real-time programming of things like steel mills, canning companies, things like that, which require microsecond response times. So from that, I worked on the first IBM 360, first real IBM business computer. So I worked on computers. I didn't think much about having one myself until the first IBM PC came along in 1986, I guess, 85. So that was my first computer. I never bothered building my own. I was working with computers my whole life. So, and by the way, there's massive mainframes that I was working on that took up entire floors of a major office building. Was about 1/100th of the power of the smartphones that we hold in our hands today. So that's how technology has grown. But about the first IBM PC, took the thing apart, designed the first voice recognition system in the world on the IBM PC by designing a board that plugged into the bus of the computer. Made a fortune on that and sold the entire technology to Interstate Voice Products. That was just prior to starting McAfee Associates Computer Virus. So the IBM PC was my first. Now I don't own any computer. My smartphone is my computer. I always get the latest and greatest. I have the Samsung S10, which, by the way, that has the finest camera in the world. If you have a friend with one, let them take a picture and compare it to your phone, whatever one you have. You'll throw your phone away. So,
Samsung is the shit.
Absolutely. And it makes the, I'm sorry to say this, you Apple people, it makes the Apple phone look like a third grade plaything. It really does.
I agree.
Yeah, that's one of those Apple things for you, though. I'm an Android guy myself. I've got a Pixel 2 XL, and I'm not so happy with it.
Yeah, how do these Apple people ever get jobs?
I don't know. It's because
that's my question. How do
you have to know somebody.
Get jobs? You have to know somebody, clearly.
Yeah.
Because seriously, it is so much in the Stone Ages that you're not learning any technology. It's a closed system. One of the things I have learned in my 50 years of programming and computer technology is that a closed system can never compete with an open system. Now, Android's an open system. Write your own app, write this. You can do anything you fucking want with it. Apple, keeps its stuff close to the heart. That's why the IBM PC in the early age, beat out the Apple, because everybody in the world was buying one and building their own shit on it. That's how you progress.
Yep.
Right. With closed systems, you're just limiting your evolution opportunities,
Oh, yeah. You're limiting everything. Absolutely everything.
Yep.
So closed systems cannot survive and compete in the world of technology. Those people who adopt closed systems will have closed lives. You're not going to get ahead in business unless you also have, because Android is 91% of the world market now. Please God, people get a clue.
Exactly.
So, John, speaking of the McAfee Antivirus, how do you get it off your goddamn computer? It keeps popping up saying your virus is expired, blah blah blah.
I watched this video by this crazy dude. It's the only way that I know. I've tried everything. I watched this video, grabbed a gun, shot the computer, and it worked.
Oh,
so it's gone.
Right. I'm about ready to. Damn it.
What's your recommended caliber for the removal of McAfee antivirus software?
It was a 9mm, I think you have to use.
Nice.
9mm, cool.
I prefer the shotgun, so that just ensures that it's gone.
Right, that's just a
Yeah,
final
I think
touch.
a 40 would do the trick too.
We make it work.
Uh,
So, Janice, you got your first magazine cover, huh?
Yes, I did. And I answered all the questions by myself.
Nice.
So I'm like a little bit proud of that. I was really, really nervous because it's like, what do you say? Like, and how do you fill up, an answer? Like, it's just a little unnerving. I'm not used to it. John is. So I'm kind of getting a little used to it. And he helped, to sort of edit my answers a little bit or help to flush them out, giving me ideas of what to add to. So it was really cool.
I help Janice flesh it out. When I get questions and people say, write out your answers, they're usually one or two words, and then sometimes I'll get bored and quit halfway through, and I'll just send a note, I got bored before I finished. If you can use this, go ahead. I'm 74 years old. And my fingers don't work as well as they used to in terms of typing. You want me to fill out a 25 questionnaire thing? Isn't happening. I might get through question 6 if you're lucky, and that's what you have to live with.
He's not funny either.
No, I'm not lying. That's what I do.
That's why it's funny.
And then probably not the easy. Okay.
So, John, do you have intentions on renaming the 4th of July holiday?
Here's the issue. What we should do instead of rename the 4th of July holiday, we should make America a place where the 4th of July actually means something.
Exactly.
Because what is the 4th of July? It's a celebration of freedom for the person. The independence from England, but screw that shit. It's freedom for the individual. That's what it means. It was independence from Germany and the beginning of the first true democracy where people were supposed to control the government rather than the government controlling the people. That was the whole point of it. The founders of the Constitution had great experience with governments, with dynasties, with every possible form of government, and knew that all governments become corrupt. So why don't we have the people control them? Well, for a couple of hundred years, it worked pretty damn well. A couple of hundred, for 150 at least. And then things went totally south at the early 1900s, the unconstitutional creation of income taxes, the growing power and scope of the government, till now one out of 4 of us is the government. That's got to change. So how can I possibly celebrate it, no matter what you want to call it? We need to change the government, and then we can call it whatever we fucking want, but let's celebrate it.
Right. No, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, I still think we have something to be proud of in our history, as far as the 4th of July goes. It's just, I think the definition of freedom is more important now today than it has been in a long time. I think that freedom is something that is no longer a right, but it's something that we continue to have to fight for. So, that's one thing I've admired about your movement and your mission. It seems that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that your drive has been to bring that back to the people, to bring that freedom back to us. I mean, sometimes there's different methods used, but at the end of the day, I think the end result is still the same. Am I right?
Well, here's the issue. He said, what is the definition of freedom? It's very clear. Freedom is purely and simply the ownership of your body and your mind, so that no one can tell you what to put in your mind. Like they said, you can't teach evolution for 35 years. You can't think certain things about communist countries because the propaganda says they're bad. You can't. So, we are taught to think other people's thoughts and to do what other people say with our bodies. You may not put marijuana into your body in many of the states. Well, fuck that. It's my body. And I want to do what I want with my body. And freedom also implies responsibility. That responsibility is to respect that same right in other people, which very simply means don't interfere with them. Don't fuck with them. They don't fuck with you. Don't harm someone. They don't harm you. My good God, it's a trivial, simple process. Once you have understood that freedom for the individual is ownership of your mind and body and story. We don't have that in the States, do we?
No,
not
I
even
would
close.
also like to add, I think that with the With freedom, it also comes the accepting of the responsibility and the consequences that may come with the choices that you decide to make.
That's true. Freedom also means that if you do something stupid, don't blame the government, don't blame your neighbor, don't blame your wife or your kids. It's you.
Yes.
You have to bear it. That's it. You got to own the results and the consequences of your chosen actions. But you have the right to choose them. End of story.
That's right.
So
that's right.
That's what freedom is, and we've lost every single aspect of ownership of our bodies and minds. We are very subtly motivated mentally by the propaganda that the press, which is nothing more than the mouthpiece of the government, tells us what to think, what's right, what's wrong, what to believe, what not to believe. What's other garbage? Look with your own eyes. I'm here in Cuba, and I have discovered everything that the government has said about Cuba is a lie. I can't fucking believe it. No wonder they don't want people coming here. Because if they do, they'll say, well, wait a minute. The government said this or that. There are people starving. No. Number one, there are no homeless people in this country. Why don't you look under the bridges of any major city in this America to see if we have homeless people? I promise you, we fucking do. But they don't hear. So rather than address that problem in America, they say, oh, look what's happening over there, which is a lie. End of my comment. I ramble on about this.
They do have shortages, of course. They have that, of course. But outside of that, people are not starving in the streets.
No, they're not. And people are not starving at home either. Listen, there are food shortages here, tremendous, but they have nothing to do with survivability. It means that you can't get a tomato for 3 months. Okay, well, I'm sorry about that. You live with it. Or we were staying at one place and they ran out of mint, so couldn't make mojitos. So we changed to Tom Collins. The next day they ran out of lemons. They finally got lemons in, but they then ran out of gin. So please God, that is not a major problem. Adjust your habits to what food is there for people. Let me tell you, there's plenty of fucking food here. It's overflowing on the food stands. It's just that you got to eat what's there. Okay? Tons of potatoes, every vegetable you could possibly want, every fruit, cantaloupes, squash, cool. Pig, there's plenty of pig. Hard to get cow these days. So steak is a rarity. Does that mean we're starving? No.
You just have to change your expectations more than anything.
Yeah, you have to change your expectations.
You change your expectations, but nobody's going hungry.
Right.
Well, and people will believe everything they read on the internet. So they see this propaganda and not even just in Cuba, but all over the place. They see this propaganda and they just believe it and accept it as truth. You know, it's mind blowing.
Yes. But you can't do that. You can't accept it. Nobody starves in this country. The Wall Street Journal last week said that in Cuba, the government had recommended that people eat rats to survive. Now, when I showed that headline to Cuban people, they were laughing and rolling in the streets. Seriously. And then they're saying there are riots in food line and people are starving. I've been all over this country with my camera taking pictures. There are no starving people. In fact, I didn't see anybody who wasn't slightly overweight. I'm serious. Meaning they probably aren't overworked very much here. So no, there's no shortage of survivability for food here. It's just that if you want a cucumber and you're desperate for one, you may have to wait a month to get one. Well, tough shit. Okay, eat a squash.
No Waldorf salads for you.
So, big deal. The government has its priorities straight here. Their number one priority is the survivability of its citizens. Jesus, if that were the number one priority of America, can you imagine what we would be? But no, we have homeless people living under bridges and in tents. They don't have that here.
And even bigger shame, we have homeless veterans living in the streets.
Yes.
That makes no sense to me. After they have risked life and limb, after they have sacrificed so greatly for our country, and we have them living homeless in the streets. It's a fucking shame. It's a disgrace, actually.
So, Janice, since you've been in Cuba, what's been like I would say what's been your favorite experience, but maybe a better way to put it is what's brought you the most joy since you've been in Cuba?
The people here are so happy, and they're always smiling, and they're so gracious. They're always willing to help. they sometimes I feel bad because I don't speak Spanish very good at all, and they try so hard to to ingratiate me and to try to help me learn the language or to try to speak English to me, and I almost feel embarrassed that I don't know Spanish well enough because they're just so overly kind.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And Janice is not, I have never been in a country with a happier bunch of people. I'm serious. Everybody smiles. Everybody's happy. Never see a frown. The closest I've seen to any unhappy person was bumping in, and it was in this little coffee shop, bumping into a drunk person, seriously drunk, who bumped into me, and I said, "Lo siento," which is sorry. He looked at me with blurry eyes and just wandered on. But then later on, he couldn't even respond to his friend's request. The bastard just couldn't speak. So I'm sorry. But that's the closest I've come to any unhappy person. And he was probably happy inside. He just couldn't make his mouth smile. Let me tell you about Cuban creativity. Now, yes, nobody starves here, but there ain't much. Bic lighters are refilled until the flint no longer exists. I had one that was refilled 7 times. You can see it's 7 little puncture holes in the bottom. Wow. There are little shops that refill your Bic lighter for 10 cents instead of having to buy a new lighter. Now, tell me that's not creativity.
That's awesome.
So the government, the U.S. government's stranglehold on this country's economy, which began in 1957, for fuck's sakes, 2.5 generations, has not changed the government. It has merely harmed the luxury aspect of Cuban citizens and has held them back from development. The U.S. government says, well, it's a communist state. Bullshit. How can they possibly progress when you will not let them? The U.S. government will not let them get goods and services. They can't even repair their buildings. There's no paint in this country.
Well, but we did learn that America actually exports beef here.
Yes, it's the lowest quality. It's right. It's what they would feed their dogs.
Yes, it's the beef they would probably put in dog food, but that's what they import.
Yes, because no one else in the world will buy them, and so they ship that shit here. So please, God,
that's just wrong.
What America is doing and what they're telling us about it.
Yes.
Lying, pure lies, deception, and propaganda. We've got 2 minutes, gentlemen.
So one last question. Since we are on a timeline, did you have a stable childhood or what you would consider a stable childhood?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, hell no. Well, I mean, I had a mom and dad, yes, and they both had jobs. My dad was an alcoholic and drank. I have a sob story like every human being has a sob story. If it's not your family, it's the fact that you were fat in school or a weakling or a dweeb or picked on or your first girlfriend left you for your best friend or whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you make out of, what's given to you as a child. I asked Janice what turned her on. What turned me on was science fiction and making money. When I was 19, I had $100,000 in the bank, which was the equivalent of $1 million today, because that was important to me. I don't know why. And I had read every science fiction book on the planet. My favorite is Stanislaw Lem, but that's a different story. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are so happy to have been on.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you taking your time to come on the show, guys. It's been great having you.
Absolutely. Thanks again, guys.
Yes, sorry we had to cut it short.
No problem at all.
Yeah, I had to empty out this coffee shop. It cost me money.
Yeah, we had to pay them to empty out.
Everybody to feed.
Yes.
We'll have to do this again. You guys have a great rest of your evening.
Yes, we have to do this again, for sure.
Absolutely.
Have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
So they bought out a cafe to come on our podcast. That's pretty cool, huh?
That is really cool. That is really cool.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh my God, they are. I really wanted to ask so many questions, and I think one of the bigger ones I wanted to ask is when can we expect another episode from them on their video podcast? I'm excited to see another one of those. It's kind of tough being under a time crunch like that, but I think it went really good considering.
Yeah, we got to ask some of the more important questions that we were wanting to get to, and there's definitely going to be a third one of these. I think this could go on for a long time because there's so much experiences that these guys have between them, and I just can't wait to figure out.
I mean, I would hope so for sure. Yeah, I would definitely hope so. We didn't get the opportunity to talk about the Freedom Card, but fortunately, we had Amina on the other day, and she was able to speak, quite frankly, about what that card existed of and what it was about. So what do you got planned for the 4th?
We're gonna go to Applebee's because we have in our town there used to be a Kmart right next to Applebee's, and they legalized fireworks in the town on the 4th of July only. So everybody goes to the Kmart parking lot and shoots off fireworks.
Nice.
But now they tore that Kmart down, and on the other side of where Kmart was is where the fairgrounds is, and that's where they have the big fireworks show. So we used to sit in front of Kmart and look over Kmart at the fireworks show, but now we're gonna go into Applebee's and we're gonna have hot wings, and we're gonna watch the first little bit of fireworks from there, and then we're gonna head over to the pond and jump in the canoe and watch the rest of the show from the canoe. So I think it's gonna be fun.
My favorite fireworks at my house is watching the Fireflies in the evening. It is like a true 4th of July fireworks show. It's intense. They are so many, and it's so crazy to see. It's like a big blanket of Christmas lights just flashing on and off. That's pretty crazy. Amazing.
You probably wouldn't believe it, but I've only ever seen one lone firefly in my life.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. There's thousands and thousands of them here and it's always right around now, the last week and then the next week and a half, they're just really in abundance, and it's so cool. It really is.
Nice. I need to get out there and check it out. That. Of course, if I did that, my wife would never leave. She'd fall in love with that.
No, I'm sorry. If you guys came here, it's so peaceful and so quiet where I live. I don't think you'd want to leave, other than, because I annoy the shit out of you, but that would be about it.
Minor detail.
Hey, come on, let's have another beer. Right?
Exactly.
Right?
Well, at least it's nice. I'm up in the mountains too, so it's I've got that nice serenity. I love the mountains, man.
Right. Well, we could, what we could do? We could just trade, like for a weekend or for a week. We'll go stay at your place. You come stay at ours. Oh, could you imagine doing that with some of our crypto friends? Someone that's in Aruba comes to Montana. That would be intense.
That's actually kind of a cool idea.
Like way cool. Just a house swap. You guys want to come here? You stay at my house. I want to go there. I stay at your house. Simple. I
like it. So I wanted to say congratulations to Rebecca and Dominic and Chris for winning the giveaway. We're going to get those prizes sent out. We've got addresses from everybody, so we'll get those prizes sent out ASAP.
Nice. That's exciting.
Heck yeah.
That really is. I'm so fired up about that. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see some feedback pictures of somebody in that T-shirt. That's what I'm most fired up about. We've got plenty of pictures.
You just want to see that shirt, don't you?
I do want to see that shirt, but
maybe I should just hang off on ordering yours just to keep you on some suspense.
Don't you dare! I will fly to Montana myself. Perfect. Don't tempt me, Frodo.
Work. As long as you fly here either in September or the end of October and November.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I'm going to see you before then, so you best have my T-shirt.
We'll be
right on. Awesome. So, guys, thanks for showing up today. We really hope you enjoyed this 4th of July special. I hope you guys have a great Independence Day. And, I know the meaning has kind of changed a little bit over the years, but at the end of the day, it's all about freedom, and it's all about our celebration of having that freedom. And whether you believe it or not, there is a liberty of freedom that we all share every day because of our history. So we can't lose sight of that, even though things have changed, even though it seems like more and more of our freedoms disappear on a daily basis. We still have our share of freedom that we can be proud of, even though we're striving for more, which I think is due to us as well. But I just don't want people to lose sight of why we're here today. That's all. That's all I'm saying. We have a long way to go, and we have a lot of positive things ahead of us. But I don't want to lose sight of that, even though you might be despondent on the way things have gone. We can't lose sight of the fact that we still have our share of freedoms that a lot of people don't have.
And it's important to remember too that, like John said, there's physical freedom and there's mental freedom. And if you want to keep your mental freedom, you have to always make sure that you stay true to yourself and make your decisions for yourself. Don't let people influence your decisions. And that applies to everything, all the way down to just like trading. Just make your own decisions, do what feels right, and stay true to yourself and your ethics, and you'll always be free in a way.
And own that shit. Own it. You made a choice.
100%.
Own it. Nobody else did. There's good and bad in everything. But that being said, on a positive note, I don't know about you, but the sun's finally shining at my house. How about you?
It's still rainy here, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a damn good day. It feels good.
It is.
Maybe this morning was a little rough, a little slow, but the day picked right up.
Right.
I am
It did.
an amazing mood. I'm having a good time. Hell yeah.
This was a great end to the day for sure for me.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
So happy 4th of July, guys. And happy Thursday for anybody else who doesn't give a shit about 4th of July.
Right.
You're not in the US.
Right.
And,
you're not in the United States.
Thank you for listening to our podcast.
Oh, yes. And thank you guys for sharing it. I've noticed a lot more people on YouTube. We're up to like 38 or 39 subscribers now. That's amazing. But the oddity of that is that we have like 500 followers on Twitter. So check us out on YouTube, guys. It's kind of cool. I signed up, subscribe to it, and I get those little pop-ups when a new episode comes out. So check that out. It's not going to be too much longer before we start doing the video side of things. Excited about that. We have some amazing guests coming up this week. We got Justin Vendetta coming up on Saturday. That's going to be amazing. And then next week we got a hell of a lineup as well. So stay tuned, stay positive, stay focused. Have a great day, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Catch y'all later.
Peace.